Now we're going to discuss a displacement behavior that functions to avoid conflict by choosing to engage in an unrelated behavior. Have you ever been somewhere, maybe walking down the street or in a store, and you see someone you don't really want to interact with, or maybe a situation that seems uncomfortable, and you drift off towards a store window, down an aisle, pretending to look at something you don't really need? Maybe you find yourself in an awkward situation where you don't even think about doing these things, but find yourself just averting your gaze, fiddling with your hands, or fidgeting. Most human beings have experienced this before, and most more than once. This is a bit like what displacement behaviors are for dogs, and one of my favorite things to call it is the "I lost my wallet" maneuver, which I can thank my first mentor for. For us, it's that moment of pretending to look for something in the other direction or pretending to be busy with another task while avoiding a social situation. But for dogs, it can look like many innocuous things. One of them is walking away to sniff the ground aimlessly. Now, we know dogs have superior noses overall, and they view the world through their sense of smell, so this can get a little tricky to identify, and is why, once again, context is everything. As an example, we often see this when owners are trying to recall their dogs back to them, especially when the human is frustrated that they aren't responding. We humans like to call it selective hearing, and while that isn't necessarily wrong, it isn't about the dog's level of stubbornness, which is a common way we tend to anthropomorphize. It's often because the louder and more stern we get, the more uncomfortable the dog is to approach. It may not even be about our tone, but our posture being a little intimidating or rude. Dogs are pretty dang adept at reading our body language, a skill they need to know to survive and thrive living amongst us. So your dog may perk an ear at your voice or even look at you and then just go to town sniffing mindlessly in the other direction as a means to say, yeah, I don't want to come to that. You sound or look upset. Sorry, I just can't possibly. I'm so busy sniffing over here right now. This can even happen in training situations where the pup is confused or frustrated, or responding to our frustration. Sniffing is something they do naturally that they can pretend to do in social situations where the alternative might be a little awkward or nerve-wracking. Another example we see this with commonly is amongst inner-dog interactions. Maybe a social situation or play is heating up too much, or they simply want to let the other pup know they aren't interested in playing, or things are too direct for their liking. They may stop play or walk away from the other dog to sniff the ground, and usually they will orient their body sideways so they can keep an eye out on that dog just in case. It's a great way to say, "I need a break" or "no thank you" to further engagement. Subsequently, your dog may just find sniffing outside more reinforcing than coming inside with you or playing with that other dog. So be sure to look at the dog as a whole. For now, when this happens, consider, what other body language do you see?